Sadhgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Jagadambe Reads the Holy Books of India. Mahabharata 135. As you may remember, Yudhishthira was complaining because he didn't want to play the game of dice. But what can I do? All that happens in this world has been ordained by the Creator. What can we do when fate has already planned the way in which events must take place? I am helpless. The king knows my principle that I will never disobey the commands of my elders. This kingdom of mine does not belong to Dhritarashtra, and I am not bound to obey him. If a father behaves as a father toward his son, then the son must obey him. But this my father is not well disposed toward me. He is not pleased with my good fortune. He's jealous of me. He has invited me to see this sabha of his and says that he wants us to spend a few days with him. I know that he's not interested in the manner in which I am to be entertained. He's not interested in my seeing this new sabha of his. All that he wants is that game of dice. I see it only too clearly. I hate to play the game of dice knowing that it leads to evil, but it is the unwritten law that elders must be obeyed. It is also the rule among kshatriyas that one must play when one is invited to play. He must not refuse. Knowing these things, my uncle has sent for me. He knows that I will not disobey him even if I can afford to. Let fate have a way. I will accompany you to the hated city, Hastinapura. Accompanied by Kunti and Draupadi, followed by his brothers, Yudhishthira went to Hastinapura at the behest of the tyrannical king and that of cruel fate, which was prodding him on. Chapter 11, the die is cast. Very soon the Pandavas reached Hastinapura. They were welcomed very cordially by the Kauravas. Excellent arrangements were made for this stay. Their apartments were beautifully furnished, and there were many servants to attend on them. After they had settled down, greeted their elders, greeted their cousins, the Pandavas spent a very pleasant and a very happy night. They were pleasantly surprised to see the thoughtful way in which the Kauravas had made arrangements for their stay in Hastinapura. It looked as though for once the king was sincere in his desire to have them with him for a few days. Day dawned, the day which was to become etched in their memories as the most terrible day in their lives. They got up early, having bathed in perfumed water and dressing themselves with great care. The Pandavas left their apartments. Duryodhana and the rest of them took the Pandavas to Jayantapura to see the new sabha, which was the excuse which brought the Pandavas to Hastinapura. They walked through the many halls and corridors for a while, appreciating them for the sake of courtesy. Nor were the Kauravas keen to hear their words of praise. They were indifferent. Their thoughts were all centered on the game of dice. The hall had been seen. They had finished with that now. They all came back to Hastinapura. Shakuni suggested that they should sit down and play a game of dice. Yudhishthira said that he would rather not, since that was the cause of so many unpleasant things. It caused friendships to die. It was poison. Shakuni said, Yudhishthira, you're talking of improbable things. This is, after all, a game, which I am suggesting. It is not as though all one's belongings are at stake. I said this game is as good as any other to while away the time. Yudhishthira said, You do not see my point. I do not believe in winning wealth by cheating. And after all is said and done, this game is just cheating. Sadhgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.